America, Ethalim, the all-knowing. Okay, today I want to talk to my men and women that just got out of prison. And this message is not just for a physical prison. I'm not talking about just the men and women that got out of prison, out the jail prison. But I'm talking about the women and children that's been in a spiritual prison. This is a jail that you have created for yourself. A prison that maybe you was in a 20-year marriage or 11-year marriage, and this was a abusive relationship, or not even abusive physically, but abusive mentally, where you felt like you couldn't be set free. And I'm not just talking about a relationship with a person, but I'm gonna go deeper. Maybe you were in you're a Christian, or you're a Muslim, or you're a Jew, and you was trapped into a frame of thought that for years you were being something that you're not. Simply and plain. I'm gonna put it like that. All of us go through this. You know, I was Christian, you know, I was born Christian, and by the time I turned 16, I had converted to Islam. I was Muslim, and I'm still Muslim. But once I researched and got knowledgeable, of wisdom, I realized the relationship with God that man had told me that was supposed to happen wasn't the true relationship with God. So I was trapped. I was trapped with a frame of thought that inside of me, I was doing something every day. I was going to church as a Christian every single day. Like, my mom took us to church 7 days out of the week. We had to pray. We had a prayer room in our house. Like, it was just like you was afraid. And so then when I became Muslim, it was a more like, they scare you with God too. But as I became Muslim taught me to meditate more, because we pray 5 times a day, and, they teach you to be modest, and, but the jail that I was in Islam was about men, men, and then more controlling the women didn't have any power. I didn't have no problem with that, because I know the men is the head of the household because of certain things that God, certain positions that God give them and certain positions that God give women. And I can understand that. But the women around me were in relationships where the men were really controlling them. I didn't have that situation like that. But my friends was in those situations. So they was women's rights type thing. And I would get a little bit of the wisdom and knowledge from them. And I'm more of a traditional person. I like, submitting to my man, and my man is the head, and I'm his manager. And no, I'm not his tail or his foot, or he put his foot on my face. No, I'm his manager. He owns the team, and I manage the team. And I know that position. He's my partner, and I'm his partner. That's how me and my husband is. But when I got in more deep in my wisdom, in my knowledge with God, my relationship with God, I realized that those were tools to program you from being all the way to the left to go to the right. And then you find your balance. And so I had found my balance. And when I found my balance, I realized that I was in a prison mentally, because I was following a system that I didn't truly 100% believed in. And that's the same mind frame. I realized that's the same mind frame that an inmate have. So if you're an inmate and you just got out of prison and you've been in jail for 20 years, and you come on the streets, or you've been released, say you was already on the streets, but you've been released from your prison, it's almost hard to adapt to being free. And so I can kind of relate. I'm going to tell you, because mentally I was in prison for 20 something years. And it wasn't just my religious situation, but I was abused as a child. Something happened to me as a child, and that I was in prison. I was walking free, but I was not living. And so that unhappiness, that pain was unbearable. Then God set me free. And then when he set me free, I had been crying for something for so many years. And then finally I was set free. And then guess what? I started imprisoning myself again because I wasn't used to being free. So I knew some people around me that was in prison for so many years. And it hurts my heart to watch them try to adapt to this society. And, you know, they're trying their best to cope with, you know, what they dealing with. Some people, they've been in jail since they were little kids. And then now they're grown and they have to come. And it's 2018. It's things done changed, you know, for them. And they like, the women done changed. The jobs done change. You know, when they went to prison, black people wasn't free. You know, they seeing a lot of stuff. And it's like going somewhere and you got so much stuff going on till you climb up. And the reason why I'm talking to them is because I'm talking to them because of their mates. Because I'm guilty of this too. You know, you'll have a loved one that loves you so much, and this person is trying to get into you. And they trying to be there for you, but we have a tendency to go into ourselves. Because when you were in that prison, even though you had a lot of people around you, you were by yourself. And when you was by yourself, in order to cope, you had to get used to being by yourself. And now you're free. You're okay with being by yourself. You're so caught up into self that you don't realize that it's not you anymore. It's a we. We go through these things. Even though you could tell your, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm guilty. Anything that I'm saying to you, I am guilty of this too. We'll say, you don't understand. You ain't been through what I've been through. You don't know what I'm going through. Well, I'm here to tell you that's a lie. Because my mate, my husband, he was locked up for 20 years physically. And he going through this, and I'm going through this. You know, he was locked up 20 years physically, and I was locked up 20 years mentally. So he was doing it mentally and physically, and I'm doing it mentally. And even though I'm not locked up physically, I'm still locked up mentally and physically. Because I'm walking around, I'm able to conversate and learn things, but I'm still in jail. So if he wished to say this to me, he would be wrong. Because I was locked up mentally. So I totally understand what he is talking about. But you know what's worse? Is for you to be free and not free. So some of you men or women that's been locked up and you think that God will give you a partner that don't understand, you're wrong. He gave you someone that was parallel going through the same thing that you were going through, but in different ways. So you need a support. You need someone to go through these things with. Because being free is a whole nother task. And I'm telling you, it's not easy, but we can do it. Every single day I'm doing it one step at a time. Every single day. Sometimes I catch myself. I don't call my husband all day. And he'll hit me up and say, babe, I love you. Oh, I love you too. You know? So baby steps. We have to learn to let people in. We have to learn to let go of that pain. We have to learn to let go of our sorrows. Stop holding on to what victimized you. Stop holding on to the things that happened in that prison. Stop holding on to the person that hurt you. Because as long as you continue to hold on to what they done, you're still in that prison. If you can remember those days that you were suffering, you were so alone, but you're not alone now. So stop being alone. If you're alone now, you chose to be alone. If you're fighting with people now, you choosing to fight. And that's what I had to realize. No one was going to make me hurt any longer. Nobody. I don't care who you are. Because that's a mind frame that I never want to be in again. That's a physical thing that I never want to go through again. So if you're not bringing me happiness in my life, I don't have you in my life. And I even went through not being able to have a job. I lived in a place that I didn't even speak the same language as the people, so I couldn't get a job. But that didn't stop me from working. I created a job. So don't allow these obstacles that you're going through out here to conquer you. If you survived in that cage for 20 years, like my father say, that zoo, that jungle, if you survived that for 20 years and you get out here and you fail, you want to fail. Because you've been through hell and back again and you conquered it. You destroyed it. You didn't die. So why die now? Keep on fighting. But this time, fight for yourself. Not fight to survive. Fight for your success. Now, this is Nerica. This is the Alim, the all-knowing. I pray for my brothers and sisters that went through the struggle like me. I pray for you every day. And if don't no one love you, I love you. We do this struggle and we did it together. So when times get rough and you don't believe that you can do it, put this video on. And I'll tell you over and over again, you can play it. You can do it. That job you looking for is yours. That house that you want to buy is yours. That wife you looking for is yours. Everything that the man took from you, God give it back to you and more. Always remember the story of Lot. Always remember the story of Job. Even if you're not a Christian, even if you're not, read those stories. Those stories give us inspiration. Not because we're Christian, but because those are an example of those that conquer the same situations that we went through. So say no to pain and yes to success. This is Aline. Good day.